Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have someone back who was with us, back in 2013, I think. But I saw his face in an advertisement about his book, and I said, we've got to get him back on. I thought he looked familiar. This is Tom Ingrassia. He's an author, radio personality out in Worcester, and he's a motivational speaker. We're going to talk about, well, to me it's the latest book, One Door Closes. And we're going to also remember the book that I think when I first had him on the show, Reflections of a Love Supreme. Welcome back, Tom.
Thanks so much, Jen. It's great to be here a decade later.
Yeah, it seems like, time really flies. But your face looked so familiar, and I said, he's been on, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to jump to conclusions. He was right. Tom, you do, besides writing these two books, you are a radio personality. Now tell us about that.
This is another dream come true for me, Jan. I mean, writing the books was a dream come true for me. Having my own radio show, and actually, I'm on Wednesday mornings from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on WCUW, 91.3 FM in Worcester.
Yeah, you got it.
And I do a show called the Motown Jukebox. So on Wednesday mornings, I morph into Motown Tom. And I play 4 hours of nothing but Motown music.
Yeah.
And I tell the stories behind the music, so it's wonderful. But actually, landing that radio show came about as a result of One Door Closes. Because back in November of 2013, I went to WCUW to do an interview about the book, which had just been published.
Right.
Coincidentally, although nothing ever happens by coincidence, that day the station director was running the soundboard in the studio. So I was done doing my interview. I got up to leave, and Troy said, No, Tom, sit back down. I need someone to take over the Wednesday morning 9 a.m.
Did he know you were interested in broadcasting?
No, not at all. He said, would you be? But he knew about my Motown background.
Yeah.
And he said, I need someone for the Wednesday morning 9 a.m. slot. Yeah. Would you be interested? And I said, Troy, I've only wanted my own radio show since I was 11 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And I was 60 years old at that time. No, well, not quite 60.
Yeah.
Almost 60. I said, when can I start? And that was it. So that was in November of 2013. The first Wednesday in January. I think it was January 7th, 2014. I was sitting at the console.
So you were the DJ. Did you have somebody else in the control room? I know when I started in radio back in, 1985, long before I got into television. I had to do it myself. I had to ride the gain. I had to do all that stuff.
Oh, I'm doing it. Yes, I have no one else in the studio with me.
No one else is doing it.
I'm doing everything.
Yeah, I had to do that too.
I'm running the soundboard. I'm answering the telephone when listeners call in with song requests. I'm playing the music. I'm telling the stories. I'm playing the underwriter spots. I'm doing it all.
Are you techie? I'm not. So I just had to. It was.
I've learned so much because I'm not a techie person, and once in a while I do screw up.
Yeah. So people call you with requests.
Yes. And there are not very many radio stations around anymore, Jan, that take listener requests.
I know it. I listen to WPRO in Providence Radio. Dan York from 6:30 a.m. on the dial, 3 to 6 p.m. He's a talk show host, and he takes calls. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's get to our book now. One Door Closes: Overcoming Adversity by Following Your Dreams, and you've got an NIEA finalist, National Indie Excellence Awards.
Yes.
What happened? That's great.
Well, again, it's one of those things, Jan, when I co-wrote the book with Jared Kredinsky, who is my business partner.
Did you choose the cover?
No, that's an interesting story too, because so I'll back up. Let me start at the beginning of the story of One Door Closes. Jared and I met in a business networking group in, I think, 2009, I think. We became immediate friends. It was one of those connections like we'd known each other all our lives. Yeah. And we became running buddies. He started me running. I'd never run before.
Yeah.
When we would go out on our early morning runs, Jared and I would talk about, our goals and what we wanted to do. And a couple of years into our friendship, I said to Jared, I've always wanted to write a book, but it's kind of stuck in my head, and I can't. And Jared said, I want to write a book too. How about if we write something together?
Yeah.
I said, wow, that's a great idea. He and I talked about it for another 2 years while we were running. We just kept talking in circles and circles. Next year we'll. At the end of 2012, so it was actually New Year's Eve morning, 2012.
Yeah.
Jared and I were out running, and I said, okay, Jared, if we're going to write this book, we need to commit to doing it this next year.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of person he is. Just out of his mouth, he came the title. He said, well, how about One Door Closes, Overcoming Adversity by Following Your Dreams for the title?
Yeah.
I literally stopped dead in my tracks, and I said, that is the perfect title. And that was like the key that unlocked everything that I had trapped inside of me that I hadn't been able to get out. So once we had that, we started working on the book. We actually had the manuscript to our publisher by August. We started writing in January.
Yeah.
8 months later, we had the manuscript to our publisher.
That's quick.
The book came out in October.
This is the one.
And celebrating its 10th anniversary. And so, yes, the fact that we were a finalist in a national book competition, that was amazing to us. The book then also went on to be named the best self-help book by the New England Book Festival. So, and you asked about the cover. Our publisher designed the cover for us. Actually, she designed the cover for both of my books. I'm a very creative person, but I would never have been able to think about the design for either one of those books, and they're the perfect cover images.
They really are. Now, are you looking for a vehicle to break through the roadblocks and detours that have sidetracked you on life's highway? Ah, yes. Enhance your sense of worth as an individual. Learn why it's important to check in with yourself periodically as a blueprint for a more satisfied and productive career and personal life. Identify your true passion. That's a problem. Discover how to reach your dreams and be inspired. Everything, at least for me, excuse me, is great. But identify your true passion, that's been rough.
Okay, so, Jan, by the time you have finished reading the book, you will have that blueprint for identifying your true passion.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little bit about the concept and the format of One Door Closes.
Yeah.
One Door Closes presents the stories of 16 people from all walks of life, many of whom live in central Massachusetts. But they're people who had to overcome what they thought were insurmountable obstacles in order to live into their dreams and to achieve their goals. And we put together an amazing group of people with such powerful stories. I mean, there are stories in there of people who had to deal with traumatic brain injury, who had to deal with, one of the people in the book, June Montero from the 60s singing group The Toys.
Okay.
Their big hit was The Lover's Concerto. I used to work with June, so I knew of her, and I knew, her story. Well, in 2006, June Montero was diagnosed with throat cancer, which is the most devastating diagnosis a singer can get.
Yeah. Here it is right here, Celebrate Your Life, June Montero.
But her story, she beat the cancer. She's cancer-free now. She's back out performing with her group. So, there's stories like that. There's stories about domestic violence, about bullying. Annette Rafferty, who is the founder of Abby's House Shelter for Women in Worcester, is in the book. And she talks about how when she was first set out to start Abby's House, of course, she was still a nun then. She was a religious.
I didn't know that.
She was in the religious order, but her story is about how she had to fight the male hierarchy of the Catholic Church to get this shelter for women started because people kept telling her, "You're just a woman. You can't do anything like this." Well, look at,
they even have a thrift shop there.
It's just the most amazing organization. So those are the kinds of stories that we have in the book. But Jared and I didn't want to stop there because, you talked about how challenging it can be to identify your passion.
Yeah.
So yes, how many times do you read an inspirational book like this? You get to the end of the book, you're all fired up, but you say, then what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I do what
But
these
what if
people
you have
did?
numerous interests? That's the problem.
Well, so the second half of One Door Closes, Jared and I developed a series of 10 self-assessment tools.
Okay.
So you go through step by step these self-assessments, and by the time you have finished One Door Closes, those self-assessments provide you with a step-by-step blueprint for how to get from where you are now to where you want to be a year
I've
from
gotta
now,
do
2
this.
years from now, 5 years from now, whatever your goals are.
Yeah, oh.
You have
Okay.
a blueprint to do that. You know exactly what you need to do and where you want to go.
My personal dream journal. Why didn't I see this in the back of the book? Well, Janet, get with it. Okay, use the following pages to keep track of the steps you have taken toward achieving your dreams and goals, what you have learned about yourself in the process, and what you have accomplished. The thing is, my mother said to me, if you have a bee in your bonnet, you better go do it. She knew me. I would be miserable and obsessed unless
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
But the problem is if you have a lot of bees floating around.
Yes, that is.
I'll try it, but-
and I have that same issue because there are so many things that I want to do. But what One Door Closes helps you to do, and especially those self-assessments, it helps you to prioritize.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, this is the most important dream that I have, and so this is the one I'm going to start on.
Yeah.
But you also shouldn't stop there. And I'm going to share with you right now, one of the other people in the book, and I might get a little teary as I'm talking about this, is Mary Wilson of the Supremes.
Yes.
And
Right here.
Mary Wilson, she and I were very good friends for almost 50 years. I met her when I was in college, when I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and she became a mentor to me and my teacher.
Yeah.
And eventually, in 2000, she asked me to go to work for her. So that was another one of those dream come true. So when Jared and I started writing the book, she was the first person that I went to, because I knew that she had such an amazing story to share.
Yeah.
And so Mary wrote the epilogue for the book, and One Door Closes is currently being adapted as a documentary film.
Yeah.
And Mary Wilson was going to do the narration for the film.
Yeah.
Along comes the pandemic, and we had to shut down production for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
We were just getting things back up and running in 2021. In 2021. In fact, it was in early February 2021. I called Mary and said, "Okay, I think we can get back to the filming." And we were setting up time for our director and me to go out to Las Vegas to film Mary's segment. 3 days later, I got a phone call at 6 o'clock in the morning that Mary Wilson had died in her
She
sleep.
passed? How old was she?
She was only 76.
How? 76? That's
76.
it?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, she had a heart condition, and
Mary Wilson.
just yeah.
Of the Supremes.
So that's kind of the sad part. But I want to share with you one of the things that Mary wrote. In fact, it's the very last thing that she wrote in the epilogue to the book.
Yeah.
And about having multiple dreams. And she said, "Live into your dreams, dare to dream, and to dream big dreams. And when you have achieved your dream, I want you to dream again and again and again."
And improve on it or do something new?
I think she really probably meant both.
Both?
But yeah, just keep redream your dream, but also dream new dreams. Because I don't think any of us wants to stand still. We always want to be moving.
I don't believe in, what is this word, retirement? What the heck?
I know, yes.
My father went back to work, I think he was, only because my mom got sick and he had to take care of her. I think he would have kept going. They were in their 80s. Really, they were Energizer bunnies, and I don't think retirement was in his.
I told you, Jan, before we started taping that I'm going to be 70 in 10 days, and I keep saying that I'm retired. I'm busier now than I have ever been in my life.
What's your birthday?
May 16th.
Okay, my son's is May 6th. Okay,
So
we have a Taurus here.
And I'm Taurus through and through. Oh, I am definitely Taurus.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely Taurus.
You guys are terrific, extremely patient, but boy, if you get angry.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We are talking with Tom Ingrassia, and he is the author, a radio personality, motivational speaker, and he has written this book along with Jared Kredinsky. One Door Closes, Overcoming Adversity by Following Your Dreams. How can they get a hold of your book and have you come speak?
The best way to reach me, Jan, is through my website, which is Tom Ingrassia Productions, ingrassiaproductions.com, and there's a contact link on the website, and your messages that you send into the website come directly to me, so I will answer you personally. And yes, and I do speaking engagements and programs all over the country.
Okay, so you'll travel anywhere.
I will travel anywhere. Put a suitcase in my hand, and I'm gone.
Boy, are we different. If we have to travel more than a couple hours, I want to bring a sleeping bag. I've had it. Now, you just recently, another kick out to them, the Book Lovers Gourmet. You were just there in Webster.
Yes.
Deb Horan is fantastic.
Oh, she is fabulous. I love Deb. She's great.
That shop is the most cute. And I send a lot of authors up to her.
Yes.
It's really, really. How was the attendance? Was it?
It was good. I was there from 1 until 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I did an author talk for about an hour, and then did a book signing. I sold a ton of books.
That's good.
So the traffic was great throughout the whole event. Yes.
Have you been to Tatnuck in Westboro?
Yes, I have. It's been a while since I've been there, and we're very lucky. I live in the Worcester area.
Yeah.
I live just outside of Worcester. We have 3 or 4 relatively new independent
Indies.
books.
Yes, we just had them on.
In Worcester. It's so great.
Have you been to Tide Pool?
I love Tide Pool.
Tide
Pool and Book Lovers are my 2 favorites. They're my favorite book
There are
shops.
so
I've
many.
done 2 programs at Tide Pool. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had the husband and wife on.
Yeah, Joe and Huck. Yes.
Listen, tell me, Tom, do you have anything else coming? Any new books coming now?
Well, I don't have any. I have a new book in the pipeline. That's one of those other dreams. What I'm working on right now, Jan, is actually, and this is so exciting. It's another one of those things that I still can't quite believe this. One Door Closes is being adapted as a documentary film.
Okay.
And actually, we just filmed the final scenes for the documentary 2 days ago.
Where? In this area?
We filmed the final scenes in Holden, and so what we've done for the documentary is we pulled 4 of the stories from the book.
Yeah.
And so the documentary centers around the stories of those 4 people, and so that's the big project I'm working on right now. The film is going to have its premiere in the fall, probably in early October. We're going to premiere it in Worcester.
In Hanover Theater or something like that?
I'm still working on those details.
Okay.
I'm still working on those details, but in Worcester, and then after that, we're going to go out onto the film festival circuit with it.
Oh my God! It's based on this book.
Based on that book.
Have you been yet to the? It's every winter, I think every December. It's the Rhode Island Authors Expo.
Ooh, I'm not familiar with that one.
I know the man who owns the Stillwater Press. Excuse me, I can't remember. Stillwater Press, and he used to run it. Now somebody else does. It used to be in Cranston. This humongous hall. I mean, it's extremely overwhelming. You walk in, and it's like, tons. I mean, authors. Boom, boom, boom. And now they've moved up to not far from there, but I think to a hotel, very well known.
Okay, yes.
And I think you'd love it. I mean, there's no other book I know that I've interviewed or seen there that's exactly like this.
That was the thing after the book was published in 2013.
Yeah.
Jared and I really started to realize that there wasn't anything else out on the market doing exactly what this book does.
Yeah.
And that, and then we started hearing back, Jan, from people who had read the book, because, Jared and I, especially in the couple of years right after the book came out, we were doing author talks and book signings all over the place. And we would then hear back from people who had read the book and said, when I read so-and-so's story, I'm going through the same thing that she faced. And if she can make it through, I know now that I can make it through too. We actually had a couple of people who told us that reading that book saved their lives.
They're relating to your stories.
They're relating. And so that's when I said to Jared, we have something bigger here than just a book. And I said we need to make this into a documentary film. So that's and it's so funny. I remember saying to Jared at the time, I said, "You mark my words, Jared. You and I are going to be on the red carpet someday."
Why not?
And that's
Are you narrating it, or is Jared?
Well, Jared and I are both narrating. See, again, originally Mary Wilson was going to do the narration, and when I got that call that she passed, my heart shattered. But then, I had to take a step back and say, okay, now what are we going to do about the narration? And I finally realized there's nobody better to narrate the book than Jared and me, because we know it so well.
Well, we're talking also about his book. When I first met Tom, Reflections of a Love Supreme, Motown Through the Eyes of Fans. I read this cover. Two very different books to me.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because when I first met you, this is the one
I'm pretty sure it was Reflections that I was here to.
This one at all. Where are you going to be appearing, as a matter of fact, coming up?
I have coming up in June. I'm going to be out in Lee, Massachusetts at the Lee Library.
Okay.
Doing an author talk on June 9th. Mm-hmm. Actually, I just have finished finalizing all this. Worcester Public Library has their summer reading program is called Finding Your Voice. Yeah. They have booked me to do a series of 3 programs.
They have 2 huge rooms there. You know that.
Yeah, oh yes. And so I'm going to be at the main branch of Worcester Public Library on June 28th, doing a program based around One Door Closes.
What time?
That's going to be from 6 until 8 p.m.
Okay. That's more like it.
Yes, right.
Get the nighttime ones, will you?
Then on July 12th, I'm going to be at the Tatnick branch of Worcester Public Library.
They have a branch.
Oh my gosh, I think they have 8 or 9n branches in the city.
Tatnick. That part. Okay, not the store itself. Okay,
right. Not the store itself. Yeah, the public.
The one I know is in Westboro. Okay.
Right, and so on July 12th, I'm going to be doing my multimedia Motown and the Civil Rights Movement lecture program, which talks about, I share the story of how this music was so influential in the 1960s and how those young black artists were the ones who broke down the barriers and really made it acceptable for African American artists to be part of mainstream culture. So that's going to be on July 12th, and that is from 5 until 7 p.m. At the Tatnick branch of Worcester Public Library.
What street is that
it's on Pleasant Street in Worcester.
Oh, not far from Park Avenue.
Right, yeah, probably not far from Park Avenue.
I didn't know they had a branch down there.
Yeah. I'll be back at Worcester Public Library sometime in the fall. We haven't figured out the fall date yet. Yeah. But then on sometime in July, and I can't remember the date right now, I will be at the Jacob Edwards Library in Southbridge.
Okay.
Doing another program about One Door Closes. And then on August 17th, I'll be at Shrewsbury Public Library.
Just a day after my birthday.
Well, I'll be celebrating your birthday.
What time are you going to be there? August 17th.
That's right? August 17th. I think it is at 6 o'clock.
Okay, that's good. That's a start.
It's definitely in the evening. It's not.
Okay, 6 p.m. at the Shrewsbury Library on August 17th, and you're going to be doing a presentation.
Yes. So I'll be doing a program. It's interesting. I never really dreamed that 10 years after the publication of One Door Closes, I would still be getting offers to come out and do talks. But what I have found is that packaging it as the 10th anniversary of One Door Closes, opened up a whole new marketing avenue.
Well, look what we've all been through since the COVID and the mess that happened in our country. Well, it's like people have just strung out.
Yes. And I think, Jen, why this book is still so relevant 10 years on is just because of all we've been through over the past 3-4 years. I think people have lost their ability to dream, and we need to find a way to be dreamers again.
Okay, Tom, again, how can they reach you?
The easiest way to reach me is through my website, which is ingrassiaproductions.com, and there's a contact link there, so just type your message into the contact link, and that will come directly to me, and I will respond. One Door Closes.
Overcoming adversity by following your dreams. I love. Do you love taking tests, like personality tests?
I do. I do.
Do you know what I keep coming up as? Mm-hmm. More on the introverted side.
No.
Yes. And I'm thinking, I grew up in a family where everyone was very vocal, very outgoing. Maybe the only way to keep up was that I had to homogenize myself just like that. because I love being alone.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Well, it's interesting, Jan, that you say that, and I express shock that but
Yeah.
see, I do too, and I think people who grew up with me. Now, when they see that I'm out doing all these public speaking engagements, and I'm doing TV interviews, and I have a radio show, I think they don't believe that I'm that same little boy that they grew up with, because I really was. I was very shy. I was very shy as a kid.
You were shy. What about the rest of your family around you? Your brothers, sisters?
Yeah. We were all kind of shy. Really.
Were you the youngest?
Yes.
Okay, right
Yes.
here. Yeah, I know. The youngest of how many?
Just two. I have one older brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it's amazing if you're the youngest. Have you ever read The Birth Order Factor? And I can't think of his name. The guy who wrote
I've heard it. I've not read it. I've heard of it, though.
It describes youngest, only, middle, and oldest. And the thing, I'm a combination of youngest only youngest, because the gap is almost a decade.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
had almost two only children.
Right. See, my brother is 6 years older than I am, so
Yeah.
there was a big gap between us too. So yeah, I mean, in many ways, I kind of felt like I was an only child.
Nothing in common. And you're raised maybe a little different. By
Yes.
that time, your parents are a little more seasoned.
Yes.
Like, aren't you cute?
Yes, right.
And like, the other one, they say the oldest child is the flag bearer. They carry the flag. By the time the youngest comes along, they say, okay, he got into trouble for this. I'm not going to pull that.
Yeah.
We know how to work it around and not hurt anyone, but just kind of flow along. Okay, we've got about 3 more minutes.
Okay.
Now, again, we've been talking with Tom Ingrassia, and he and Jared Kwadimsky
Oh, perfect. Yes.
wrote together One Door Closes, Overcoming Adversity by Following Your Dreams. You know what I'd like to see? You're probably too busy, but a sequel to this.
That's in the works because we still get people coming to us and saying, if you're going to write a sequel, I know someone who has an amazing story, and you need to talk to them. So yeah, that once we get the documentary out, there will be a sequel to One Door Closes.
Okay, when does the documentary come out?
It'll premiere in Worcester in the fall, probably early October.
Okay.
We haven't finalized the date yet. And actually, in the documentary, 2 of the people we feature in the documentary are 2 of the 3 famous people in the book.
Right.
Sherry Payne from the Supremes
Okay.
and June Montero are in the documentary.
Right.
And so I'm working right now around their schedules to get them to Worcester for the premiere. So it's going to be
We don't know yet where it's going to premiere.
We don't know yet where it's going to premiere. That's a secret right now.
Trying to think. Does the Hanover Theater have a movie screen?
They do. Yes, they do.
Okay, I thought
Yeah.
they just had a stage. Well,
Yeah, because the Hanover, actually, they show silent films there with organ accompaniment, just like back in the 20s.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
This is going to be so cool.
It's
Can you email me when you get the information on that?
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
people get this out there. Also
Sure.
have you back on again to share with
Great.
people. Like, it's out. You could go see
Yeah,
the documentary.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Thanks for being with us today.
Oh, Jan, thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, it's good to have him back again. I knew I recognized that face. We'll have him back. Take care. See you next time and be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.